Hello, welcome to this week's art adventure. I got a new thing. I have already used this once, technically. I didn't record it. But it's UV dip resin. Basically, you use some wire and you make a shape and you go whoop, and it makes like a film, and then you hit it with the UV light and you've got a thing. So I know I'm a little bit late for the start of spring, but I thought I'd make something a little springy, so I'm gonna use this as my base, and then I'm gonna try and make like a little flower on top, make like a little pond thing. So that is what we're going to attempt to do. How well it's actually going to turn out, I don't know. I'm going to start by making a base, and then I'll worry about that. So let's get started. So I actually fussed around with how I was putting the little rocks and stuff in for a good while. I figured I wasn't going to bore you with the 3 other times that I did this, so I'm just showing you the final time here. But I thought it would be cool to use the mixture of rocks. The sort of glassy ones did have like a slight blue tint, so I thought, okay, it'll look like these little crystals in there, it'll be cool. They disappeared completely, so that was fun. I mean, other than their little glitters. I did use some slightly tinted resin for the base part. And then I decided I'm gonna paint little koi on there. I did only do them on one single layer. I didn't try to make them 3D or anything like that. Though in the future, at some point, far in the future probably, I do want to try and make a 3D painted image inside resin, because I love watching the videos of people doing that. That's so cool. But for now, I'm happy with how my little koi here turned out, except for that little one. The little one's a little meh. So I added another layer of resin on top of that, and then I was like, I'm gonna put lily pads in. So I just bought these markers. I didn't buy them specifically for this project, but they worked really nice on top of the resin. They were really nice. It went down real smooth, and they turned up real well. So that was fun. That was nice. I like that. And then I used this pearlized green on top of them to give them a little bit extra shimmer. And then another layer of resin. And then it was time to attempt my little dip resin flower. I got some of the petals shaped out in a way that I wanted. And it was looking good. And I was ready. And it didn't want to work. I kept trying, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just, maybe they're spaced wrong, and I just have to adjust them. Maybe if I just do 2 at a time. And I kept trying, and you can see I'm getting resin all over my gloves. And I stopped. Oh, this is actually a freeze frame, but I did eventually I messed around with it for a long time, but I did eventually figure out it was because it was like 85 degrees plus humid. So there was no way in heck that the dip resin was going to work. It became far too liquidy. So I sort of figured out how to make something happen. I just sort of would dip it in, let it sort of bubble up, and get spots of resin on it, so that there was just sort of a framework of the flower, as you can see here. And then I went in with those markers and added a bit of color. Used a alcohol wipe to get some of the color off, not all of it. I just kind of wanted a hint of color in there. And then went over it all with some slightly colored resin, just to sort of bring it together and attempt to make it look a little nicer. it definitely didn't turn out the way I wanted. It was not the look I hoped for, but I feel like I did a pretty good job of salvaging it, all things considered. And I do like the end result. I think it turned out pretty good. So, kind of wish I put a solid color at the bottom, but I did not. These like completely disappeared. It just kind of looks like there's little bits of glitter in there. Like you can see it. It almost kind of looks like bubbles on the camera, but they're the specks of glitter that are in these rocks. Like they just vanished. Ninja vanish. So yeah, I'm obviously gonna have to do some cleanup on the edges. This is the first time I've done like paint inside the resin and stuff like that. Obviously I didn't make it 3D or anything like that. I didn't want to do too much. The flower obviously didn't turn out how I wanted. But I'm actually pretty happy with it. So I'll probably paint a darker color on the bottom just to give it some kind of a something. There are different colors of these, so I might try grabbing ones that actually have color rather than just clear ones, see if those work slightly better for future projects. And yeah, I'm gonna clean this off later. I don't feel like doing it right now. Anyway, I did have fun with this despite dying from heat, and I'm generally happy with the result, and I hope you, I keep saying and, I'm so sorry. I hope you enjoyed watching the progress and me struggling. Stop picking at it. And I hope you will, I said and again too. I hope you will join me on my next art journey next week. So, until then, bye.